Yeah. All right, I'm gonna do a mic check on it. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Microphone check.
Oh God.
Does he have his speaking points? How you doing, Mayor? Please. Do we have a frame for this?
Damn.
Do we have a frame?
I don't think it's ever been a frame. You want me to go find one? Yeah,
I'm
say
done.
that right. It's Mayor and Mayor. How are you?
How you doing?
Officer Joseph B. Jones.
Good to see
I'm
you.
good to see you
again. Good to see you.
sir. Get to be with my team today,
Yeah.
man. I love this. I love this.
Right in front of you, right in front of me.
Keys, thank you. Yes.
Get in there. How are you?
Chief, I don't bite. You want to come a little closer?
Yeah, we good. Well, we getting close since they took the mask away.
First day.
All right.
You ready, sir?
Yep. We ready? We're ready. Hey, you don't bring those probably Chief Bradford.
Yes. Chief Bradford. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Chief Troy Finner, the Executive Command Staff of HPD, and our entire HPD family, we welcome you to our annual March on Crime presser. In December 1984, the March on Crime campaign was born out of a growing concern over violent crime being committed in the Black community. The first year of this campaign was such an overwhelming success that a similar program was designed for the Hispanic community. Lucha contra el Crimen began in September of 1986. March on Crime is a citywide crime prevention campaign used to educate and inform the public about crime trends occurring throughout the Houston area. The main focus of this campaign is to highlight prevention efforts aimed at the elimination of critical incidents throughout targeted Houston communities. This year, HPD's Office of Community Affairs, in conjunction with patrol divisions, will focus on crimes including road rage, domestic violence, homicides, shootings, theft of firearms from vehicles, and other crime issues that impact our communities and local businesses. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce our mayor, America's mayor, Mayor Sylvester Turner.
All right. Thank you very much, Director Cloud, and good to be with everyone. I feel like I'm out of uniform. I'm gonna give me one of them uniform. But look, let me say good morning. I want to thank everyone for joining us this morning as we kick off HPD's 38th annual March on Crime initiative and discuss some special challenges we are facing this year, along with our planned solutions. Of course, I'm joined by Chief Troy Fenner. Chief, it's good to be with you again. Members of his team, and there are several of them here, and also several members of the city council that are here. Councilmember Huffman, Councilmember Alcorn, Councilmember Pack, Councilmember Tiffany Thomas. Am I missing anyone else down there? Uh, okay, all the women power on city council today, and then of course as former DA Bradford is here, Chief Jackson and Chief Perez are all here as well. Look, as you heard earlier, March on Crime or Lucha contra el began in 1984, uh, and the program is built upon the premise that no one group can do it alone. Neighbors need to help neighbors. Communities need to work with HPD, and in turn, HPD needs to work with those in the community. Everyone needs to take responsibility for helping to keep this great city safe. In fact, One Safe Houston plan focuses on beefing up law enforcement with more boots on the ground, and at the same time using more technology, and then working in collaboration with the community, having more community engagement, and all of us working together to make our city one safe city. One Safe Houston represents a holistic approach to combating violent crime on the streets while being responsive to the needs of victims and building healthier communities in the process. Law enforcement efforts alone will not sufficiently address the symptoms of crime. And as many of you know, last week I attended a news conference with residents of the McGregor Super Neighborhood and Riverside Civic Association as they expressed concerns over increasing crime in their community after 5 people were shot in a fight that spilled into the streets at Spivey's. The city of Houston filed a Texas Civil Practice and Remedies Code, Chapter 125, common nuisance suit, seeking a temporary and permanent injunction against the owner of that particular bar. This was not the first Chapter 125 lawsuit that was filed, and I know it will not be the last. But these are examples of how the city is working with the community to fight crime. We've talked about our criminal court backlog in Harris County. We know we need to work to bring that down. We've talked about our bail bonding system, and I've asked the city attorney to propose an ordinance prohibiting where bail bond companies are charging less than the 10% minimum or allowing a layaway system, allowing violent criminals back on our streets. That ordinance should be presented to city council members this month. We've talked about HB 1927, permitless carry, which is now in effect, allowing people to carry a gun without a permit, license, or any kind of training. Many law enforcement agencies, including HPD, spoke against and raised concerns about House Bill 1927. Those concerns have come to the light of day. And this year, as we commemorate the annual March on Crime, we're also facing challenges, but this is also a can-do city. And we are resilient and we will get through this together. I know there's not a better police force anywhere in the city than one that's right here in the city of Houston. So very proud of these men and women who are out there on the street every single day working to make our city safe. As a city, we simply need to support them, do the things that we individually and collectively can do. And if we work together, this will be one city. Having said that, Chief Fenner, let me present to you this proclamation. I'm going to ask the council members, you come a little bit closer, and essentially the March on Crime program was created in December 1984 by Dr. Don Rosette out of the growing concern over violent crimes being committed in the Black community. The campaign's first year achieved much success, and as Director Cloud said, it expanded to the Hispanic community, Lucha contra el Crimen, which began in 1986. The program was combined in 1991 and open to all citizens of Houston. Lucha Crimen is designed to disseminate crime prevention information through both electronic and print media, as well as teaching those within the community new strategies to reduce crime in their neighborhood. In 2022, March on Crime, Lucha contra el Crimen continues to focus on the education of the public on crime and crime prevention in their community and reinforce the Keep Houston Safe public safety campaign. Officers throughout reach out to local businesses, schools, and communities to continue crime prevention and the implementation of crime prevention efforts aimed at the elimination of criminal incidents. We are very appreciative to every single law enforcement officer in the city of Houston, and we vow our support to each and every one of them. The city of Houston commends March on Crime, Lucha contra el Crimen for its tireless work throughout local communities to inform citizens about crime prevention and its efforts to reduce criminal activity. So therefore I, Sylvester Turner, Mayor of the City of Houston, hereby proudly proclaim this day, March 1st, 2022, as March on Crime contra el Crimen Month in Houston, Texas. Thank you all for what you do. Mayor.
All right. Got it. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
All right. Good morning, everybody. 1984, I was a junior in high school, so that's a long time. So look, it just speaks to the spirit of our great city. We can't do anything alone. Just want to thank the mayor for always supporting us, for putting additional officers out on patrol, our city council, the DA's office, our former Chief Bradford, and importantly, the men and women on the front line. I appreciate you. We appreciate you. The city appreciates you. And our support. We couldn't do anything without y'all. And I want to say a special thanks because they work so hard and they don't get enough credit. Our emergency communications division, thank you for what you do. They're listening to all this, getting us to calls, over 1 million, 1.2 million, 1.3 million calls a year. I just want to say thank you. So really quickly, we can't do it alone. We want to take it into every neighborhood, all the communities, and make sure that we're working together. We'll focus on some key areas, and we stated homicides and shootings in those areas. I just want to make mention of one thing and put things in perspective. Just a month ago, everybody was just, the sky's falling, and we got problems just like any other city. But I said then, the sky's not falling. We got good people, we got good police officers, and we come together, we'll get it together, and we're moving forward. We were at year to date, we're at 86 homicides, and one is too many. we're 30%. But if you looked at last month, we're at 73%. So we're moving in the right direction, and I want to continue to do that. We identified some of those areas that are producing most of our violent crimes. But as I shared with the mayor earlier, crime moves around, and we have to be smart about it. And we're looking at it daily and monthly because we want to make sure that we're putting and leveraging our resources in deployment, and also leveraging technology in the way of shot spotter, putting more license plate readers, more cameras out, so we can deploy those officers and that technology into those hottest areas. Also, we want to focus in on those individuals that are wanted but have not been arrested. And we got a list, and we're working that list. Just in a few weeks, we arrested 11 murder suspects. While we arrested those suspects, 24 other felons were with them. They're also in jail. And one thing about criminals, guess what? They hang together. So we're going to keep fishing in those areas. So thank you. And our domestic violence. Sadly, each year, a large percentage of our homicides are driven by domestic violence. And just want to say thank you to our DART, and Ms. Cloud is here. You started that with a few other individuals, and I just want to say thank you. That is a nation, a program that is respected to the nation, throughout the nation. It's called Domestic Abuse Response Team, referred to as DART. We advocate with a police officer that's actually going to the scenes, giving immediate assistance to those victims. Our goal is to arrest the offender and give the victims, the assistance that they need. A big part of that is educating, going in some of those apartment complexes, those areas with the highest domestic violence, educating them and letting them know they're not in it by themselves, but we need some help. Community members, family members, friends. If you think or you see one of your friends or one of your family members with signs of abuse, say something and stand up so we get them some help. Guns stolen from vehicles. This is 100% preventable, okay? The best thing that we can do, if you're going to leave your gun in the vehicle, invest in a safe. They're not terribly expensive, because the criminals, they're going to look in. If they see something, a bag or something, they're going to break in. That's what they're looking for. Last year, we had over 3,600 guns stolen in our city. Those same guns are used in violent crimes. So we all have to work together on that. I also want to look at the number of guns we seized thus far this year. It's 395 just in the first couple of months. Last year we seized 6,841. So good police work, and we'll continue to do that. Mayor, we also wanted to look at the buyback program. You want us to stand up? We should have that stood up here pretty soon. We're going to be working with our local and our state and federal government to see if we can join together, and sometimes money moves people. So that's what we're going to do. Finally, road rage. It's something that's been in our news, but the fact is, the calls for service on road rage, those numbers are going. Now, I do not want to forget about the victims who have been shot and killed on our roads. We just had a press conference on our little princess, Ashanti Grant. I just want to let the public know, we said a few weeks ago, and we're going to stand behind it. We will not stop until we get those suspects in custody. But the road rage incidents are going down. But as the police chief, as this police department, and all our other partners, we're going to continue to deploy officers in uniform, in marked units, and also plain clothes, because we want our roads safer. Again, citizens, we call to you. Don't become a part of the problem. If somebody cuts you off or they're aggressive, just let them go about their way. Try to get us a license plate, okay? But I just want to thank everybody again, Mayor, City Council, our great citizens, again, our men and women on the front line, our support teams. Thank you for what you do. And the call is just for us to continue to come together, continue to work together to reduce this crime in our great city. And it is a great city, so don't ever forget about that. So thank y'all. And Chief Bradford, if you just want to say a few words, thanks. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Just real quickly, Chief, I'll begin by saying 1984. Well, I was not in high school in 1984. Wow, how the years have flown by. Some of us stood with then Police Chief Lee P. Brown and citizens from across the city to kick off March on Crime. And I'll say today that public safety is a community responsibility. This means that citizens, businesses, faith leaders, police officers, the district attorney, and judges are all intertwined in their roles and play a critical part in keeping our neighborhoods safe. And I'm pleased to be joined here today on behalf of a district talk with Ruben Perez, Bureau Chief Special Crimes, Chief Robert Jackson, Chief Investigator, to say that the District Attorney's Office and DAR, we stand with Mayor Turner, we stand with Chief Fenner, we stand with the Houston Police Department and all law enforcement personnel, citizens and businesses who are fighting against crime in Harris County to do our part. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chief Fenner.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Well, let me just say, in 1984, I was in the second grade. Chief Bradford was the police chief, and of course, Mayor Sylvester Turner was then a state representative of the area that I lived in. We both grew up in Acres Homes, and what an honor it is to be standing here now with both of these amazing men who I looked up to as a young girl. All of us now committed to making sure that we make Houston a safer place. Thank you so much, Mayor, for your continued support. The One Safe Houston program, as the mayor and the chief have said, is exactly what we need to help make sure all of our communities are safe. It's not just about making sure that we have more police officers on the street, but it's providing resources that interrupt the cycle of violence and prevent crime. And that's what March on Crime is all about. So thank you very much, and may God bless the city of Houston.
Spanish speaker. Okay.
Spanish
Patty,
speaker?
yeah.
Yes, Patty.
Thank you.
Assistant Chief Patty Cantu.
Thank you, Chief Cantu.
Buenos días y gracias a todos por estar aquí. Alcalde, gracias otra vez por su liderazgo aquí en la ciudad de Houston, también con el jefe de policía, Chief Fenner. Aquí tenemos dos personas que nacieron aquí en ese estado que quieren bastante y nosotros estamos bien agradecidos que ellos nos están apoyando a esta ciudad tan linda. Este mes es marzo y este es el mes en la lucha contra el crimen. Nosotros este año siempre estamos juntos, poderosos, pero solamente somos poderosos cuando estemos juntos. Nosotros estamos enfocando en áreas que son parte de la iniciativa del Un Seguro de Houston y cosas en crímenes violentas. En este año, homicidios y los tiroteos, hemos tenido 86 asesinatos este año. Eso es arriba, un poco 36%. Eso es perspectivo. Tiene que contar que el mes pasado estábamos subido con 73%. Nosotros estamos identificando las áreas más violentas y estamos buscando tecnología como el ShotSpotter. Rápidamente, cuando hay tiroteos, que nosotros respondemos a esa área para tratar de resolver ese crimen. También estamos siguiendo los ofensores violentos, los que ya tienen hijos, y estamos buscando para arrestarlos inmediatamente. En áreas de violencia doméstica, afortunadamente, eso es un gran % de los asesinatos cada año. Este año solamente hemos respondido a 22,500 por las llamadas. Nuestro querer es para arrestar el que está abusando y a buscar recursos para la persona que está abusado. Nosotros tenemos un equipo que se llama el DART. Responden en cada instante de los instantes domésticos de abuso. Ellos ayudan a obtener recursos para la persona que necesita. Entonces, también queremos también decir de las armas. Hay varias personas que tienen las armas y las dejan en el carro. Eso es un gran porcentaje que tenemos que se lo están robando. Si los van a tener en el carro y los quieren cargar, por favor, necesitan invertir en una caja de seguridad en el carro, porque esos armas están usando para los asesinatos, para los robos, para otros crímenes. Eso se puede prevenir un 100%. También estamos trabajando con el alcalde en comprar armas para atrás. Eso va a venir bien pronto, ese programa, y vamos a hacer el anuncio bien entre el mes, yo digo el mes, cuando diga el alcalde, ¿verdad? No quiero hablar bien adelante de él. Y finalmente tenemos también el furia al volante. Por favor, esté paciente. Por favor, no se apuren. Si ven las personas que están manejando bien agresivo, por favor, dele la línea, haz lo que sea, pero también tome la licencia en caso que algo tiene miedo o puede prevenir, pero por favor, con precaución. Otra vez quiero darle las gracias al alcalde, Chief Finner y todos el fiscal que están aquí, todos juntos, los oficiales que trabajan tan duro, y estamos trabajando con el seguro de Houston. Entonces nosotros para todas las áreas violentas lo estamos viendo cada semana. Entonces nosotros estamos dando recursos adicionales con personas. 125 es muchas personas, pero solamente nosotros estamos viendo los números donde está ocurriendo el crimen y lo estamos despachando, y también nuestra gente que están despachando las llamadas están todos trabajando bien duro. Pero un mensaje que quiero dar a toda la comunidad: nosotros no lo podemos hacer solos, y solamente vamos a estar fuertes cuando todos nos juntemos, porque a todos nos está afectando esta violencia. Y para este marzo, no solamente para este marzo, para todos los días del año, que necesitamos estar juntos y seguros para tener esas familias, nuestros hijos, para tenerlos seguros, para ser una comunidad, ¿verdad? Seguro, pero poderoso. Gracias por su tiempo.
Gracias.
Thank you.
I started. Well, questions. There were questions in one. Good. Everybody's happy. Oh, go ahead.
Well, for both. Mayor, can you talk to us more about the strategy right now to fight crime, to combat crime? What is the strategy in the field?
Well, let me tell you, as we've indicated repeatedly, it's going to require a holistic strategy. We are putting more boots on the ground. There's a cadet class, for example, that will be graduating this coming Thursday. In addition to that, as we ramp up more boots on the ground, we're using the overtime program. We're putting 125 police officers on the streets every day. Overtime, that's a cost of about $5.7 million alone. As indicated, we're utilizing more technology, utilizing more cameras, even dealing with road rage. The HIS department and others are already working on being able to get the footage, traffic on our streets, roads, interstates. So that is already in progress in terms of finalizing that. The gun buyback program is a very small piece, but it's symbolic. Every gun that we can remove from the street, could possibly a gun that was used in victimizing other persons. We're working on that front. We've also acknowledged the fact, and Chief Bradford already mentioned, the caseload in Harris County is way too high. So we do need more judges. We do need more staff. We need more venues. All of those things we need. The bail bonding system can work on a layaway plan when you're dealing with people who are committing these crimes. And so we want to hold that to that 10%. So that's very important. The city is investing more money in the Houston Forensics Science Center to expedite that evidence retrieval. So we're working on that point. With respect to the community itself, we continue to work with Crime Stoppers. We're putting in place our Community Messengers program, because we need people out there in the community influencers. So we're doing that. The Cure Violence program, we're investing well over $3 million in that as well. And we're investing in our criminal reentry program. When people are coming out of TDCJ, they need two things: employment and housing. And so we are ramping up that program right now. We're working with about 500, with the additional dollars that'll go up to about 750. And then with respect to our crisis intervention, Chief Finner mentioned about domestic violence. That number has ticked up. And so we need to address that. People on substance abuse, people who are homeless, people who are in crisis. We ask our police officers to do everything. Well, we need to, in a sense, change that paradigm. So we're investing substantially in that. When you put all of those elements together, the cost of the One Safe Houston plan is more than $44 million. Okay. So it takes a holistic approach. But after we've done, and then again, there are too many guns on our streets. House Bill 1927 is not good for anyone. That has nothing to do with the Second Amendment. It has everything to do with when there's no license, no permit, no training, then even good people can utilize guns, but people are victimized if they are not trained on how to use them. So it requires a holistic approach, and then it requires the community itself to participate. People know who's committing these crimes. They got to provide the information. Everybody has a role to play. So it's a holistic approach, comprehensive, and we believe it's going to bear positive fruit as we move through this year.
Can you elaborate more in regards of the topic, the bail bonds?
Well, with respect to the bail bond system, generally speaking, most people assume that if let's say if someone is out on $100,000 bond, that the bail bonds will be charging 10% of that amount, not 1, 2, or 3%, and certainly not putting people on a layaway sort of system. Because quite frankly, if you put people on a layaway sort of system, then where are they going to get the money to pay the bail bondsman? In many cases, they will commit more crime in order to pay that system. So, look, there's no one piece that's going to solve it. It's a collective effort. So the bail bond people need to step up and be more responsible. Okay. At the same time, we do need more judges. We do need more staff. We have to reduce the criminal case backlog. Okay. We have to do that. And that's going to require help from the state level all the way down. We all have a role to play. Judges have to be much more sensitive in letting people out 2 and 3 and 4 times. That system doesn't work. So we have to address that. That needs to take place. But we will do our part. I don't control the judges. I don't control that system. But we can do our part here at the city of making sure that all of these police officers and others, that they get everything that they need. Number one, to keep themselves safe. Okay, that's number one, because I want them to go home to their families. But we need to do everything we can to support our men and women in blue, to give them what they need to work to put more boots on the ground, to utilize more technology, and to try to get some of these guns off the street.
And for this particular, if you can mention.
I don't know what I can add to that though, but you go ahead. I'm just.
Give us more information in regards of the statistics. Is this strategy working?
I say it one more time. Sorry.
Is this strategy working?
Well,
It's about
we
fighting
we
crime.
hope it's working. And I believe in it. I believe in the men and the women in the uniform. But we're gonna continue wherever. This is what I want people to understand when you talk and you ask strategy. My strategy is real simple. You follow those criminals where they are. We identify our worst offenders and we put their butts in jail. However, we can legally do it within our policies and procedures. That is my strategy. I am, and we are an intentional of getting violent criminals off of our streets. Mayor talked about the social services programs that's coming to help us with those low-level, non-violent people who suffering from mental illness, drug dependency. You got to help those individuals. But I'm not up here talking about that. I'm talking about these violent individuals that's disrupting our city. And I'm telling you, I promise, we're not going to stand by. All of our agencies, the district attorney's office, the U.S. attorneys, all of our federal partners, our local partners, we're going to stand strong and we're going to get them. So, and that's it.
And if I can just add, it's zero tolerance when it comes to crime. Okay. It is important for us to work with all of our law enforcement agencies on the federal, state, and local level, and we'll do that. But it is zero tolerance. And so, and hopefully people will understand that. But if everybody works together and do their part, if the city of Houston, if we do our part, if the county, pleased to see Chief Bradford here, he's quite familiar with the city and now with the county. But if we all work together on that end, then I believe you're going to see some immediate results. I'm sorry.
I know that you and your office brought a lawsuit against Spivey's last week. Going forward, how will residents be able to reach out to your office in terms of, reporting problem businesses within their neighborhoods?
Well, they certainly can reach out, but I would tell you, Chief Fenner and HPD have been doing an excellent job in providing us with information. The Chapter 125 lawsuit against Spivey was not the first. We filed already the legal department of Chapter 125 against another convenience store on the northeast side of town, where there was repeated acts of violence taking place at those premises. And so we'll continue to do that. Basically, what we would like to, there are many businesses who are doing a fine job. Okay. Let me draw a distinction between those who are doing a fine job, who are protecting their patrons, those who are visiting. And so I applaud them. But there are some businesses who have gotten very, very lax and who are not stepping up. And they know who's coming to their establishments. Okay. They know that. And so they need to step up or they need to step out. Okay. You either step up or you step out. So we're moving forward on that. There will be another ordinance that will be coming to City Council that will require certain businesses to have cameras outwardly facing that will assist law enforcement where there are crimes committed, that they can go back and get that footage. So that proposed ordinance will also be going before City Council in this particular month. But for those businesses that are harboring criminals, that are allowing them, for example, to set up at their convenience stores, and they're not going in there to buy bread, okay? But where crime is being committed, those stores, those convenience, those bars, those clubs, we are taking a very hard line position as it relates to them. Okay. So everybody has to have some skin in the game. People are scared, and rightfully so. And they are demanding that we be very definitive and very aggressive in our actions. And I hope the public will be understanding and sensitive to that. But we don't want 2022 to be a year that goes where 9-year-old kids are being victimized and they're losing their lives. And quite frankly, when you start touching our babies, then you've gone way too far. And so the position as it relates to the city will be zero tolerance, and we'll give law enforcement everything that they need. We'll also work with the people out in the community and inviting them in. But this situation cannot continue. Okay.
As far as the March on Crime, what happens next with those initiatives as far as educating the public?
I'll take that.
Where do we go?
One of the things that we're going to be doing in the Office of Community Affairs, we, for example, have brochures that we're able to hand out, and we're going to be going into our various communities, working with our DRT and our community service officers. We're also going to be reaching out to our council members, respective communities, to help find out where we need to go, especially where those particular crimes are high. We're using a very data-driven approach, but that engages all of our residents and really brings police officers in the communities together in a way that's educational but supportive, and so we can really start building relationships.
And Michael, we're gonna need the we're gonna need the media's help as well. So when we put these programs out and whatnot, please help us in getting information out because it's all about informing people and making it safe for Houston.
And now on the front of One Safe Houston, I just wanted to check on the status of a couple of things that were announced during that news conference in early February. Mayor Turner, you had talked about an ordinance that you guys were going to maybe have the city attorney draft on the bail bond system.
Yes.
Where does that stand?
They are finishing up the final touches that will be presented to the members of City Council this month.
And then the 125 officers who are supposed to be working overtime every day, where do we stand on that?
We're standing pretty good on it. And when you are putting 125, sometimes, people call in sick or whatnot, but I'm feeling really good about the officers that's out there right now. So, yeah.
Any other questions? In terms of the road rage incidents, how do you guys keep track of those things and when they're called in? Specifically, prosecutors have to look back and see if they fit road rage criteria.
Well, thanks for asking that question because sometimes it may appear to be a road rage on the front end, but at the back end, when we do the investigation, sometimes it's criminals targeting each other while they're driving on the road. That's not road rage. That's a targeted event, and we do want to differentiate, but sometimes it comes after the actual investigation. So, good question. All right.
And just on a factual basis, in 1984, I was in pre-K. Just wanted to say that.
And on that, Willie. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.